Level check here. Does that sound okay?
Looks good.
Just that I was a huge fan of it. I worked for a long time as a bookseller at a place called Skylight Books in Los Angeles, and I would sell the hell out of this book because I just thought it was so special. And then it came to me that Amazon was going to do it. One of my mentors over there is a writer on Lord of the Rings, told me about this project. And I was scared of it, and I was like, I don't know, they're going to mess it up. But then I heard Brian and Cliff were involved. Amazon made certain promises about their willingness to go to the kind of darker places and not kind of like Disney it down or sanitize it and clean it up. And at that point, it just scared me so much I felt like I had to say yes. So.
You've stuck fairly closely to the source material. Do you have like a principle around that you want to honor the original comic?
Yeah, just that, I mean, it is kind of our true north, right? Like, whenever we're lost, we try to go back and read sections of it almost like Bible study. But at the same time, we think people are coming to this to have a larger experience, So as long as it kind of feels in the spirit of what they did, and we can find a way back to that kind of main track, then I think it's allowed. And also, the opportunity we have is Brian and Cliff wrote this in a vacuum, in a serial way many years ago. I get to have this writer's room full of people who have lived these experiences a little more. It is an all-female writer's room except for me. Women in their 20s, women in their 60s, women of all the ethnicities represented here, the different sexual orientations. Can we have a larger conversation than the one they were able to have in just those few pages? That felt like the biggest opportunity in taking it to the screen versus on the page.
Do you think that the show will go past the source material? The source material is only like 30 some pages.
It's a great question. I mean, I think the biggest difference is that our girls are aging, right? In the source material takes place over 3 or 4 nights. It happens very quickly. They don't have to deal with how long the girls are away. So I think there are some things that are just intrinsic to the challenge of using real actors that are going to ask us to I don't know, engender some of those questions. But at the same time, there's this huge, amazing roadmap I don't want to get too far from. So I guess I'll dodge that only by saying we're open to it, but gee, I think it has such a satisfying ending. I certainly wouldn't throw that out.
Brian and Cliff once said that this comic is impossible to adapt to live action, and you're proving them wrong, hopefully.
I agree.
How do you? I mean, they were on board already. How do you tackle the impossible?
Oh, God. With a lot of fear and hope that you don't screw it up. But I think it was a question of scale was one, right? Because the comic goes to these fantastical, huge places, and that's part of the adventure. And so if we were going to be asked to kind of do it in a small box, that wasn't going to work. But then it was casting. It was just like, can we pull these girls off the page and have them be as rich and as inhabited as the characters that have been written? And then, so for me, the first time we got to see this kind of chemistry read the girls just spoke about was the first time I was able to let my shoulders down a little and say, okay, maybe we'll get away with this. Just because they are so real, and they bring things to those characters that both kind of satisfy, the archetypes they exist in, but also just expand on it and bring it to life. So I don't know. Maybe it will prove impossible in the end, but so far it's gone pretty well.
When you adapt something from comics to live action, you lose Cliff Chang's art, Matt Wilson's colors.
Yes.
How do you make up for that?
We make Cliff Chang be really involved in all the production design and make him talk to all the DPs. And in the second season, we use him even more because they did so much research. The other good thing he gave us, too, was not only here are my drawings, it was like, here's what I'm referencing. You know what I mean? Like, I got this from Alien, or I got this from, Crutzen. He turned us on to his influences, so we were able to kind of take what he did and bump it up a notch, but do it with the ingredients he gave us. So I think you can't have enough Cliff Chang in your show, and as we go forward, expect to only see more.
Have you had any memorable moments on set so far that you recall?
Oh, man. Gosh, what's memorable? I mean, the beating heart of this show is these girls. Like, they're so, buoyant, and you've just met them. They're so buoyant and fun, and, the energy is so good. And that's not true of every show. Sometimes you have, cranky actors or people that are go to their trailer and don't interact. But these girls, the scene can call for one of them to be shot and one of them to cry, and then they'll call cut and they'll be doing like a synchronized dance. So that kind of energy is infectious, and it makes the long nights possible, and it makes the challenges of shooting something this scale work. Oh gosh, what's memorable? I mean, there's a lot of like Cameron falling off her bike moments that are funny once you find out she's okay. I don't know, but I think I'll remember the dancing. There's a lot of spontaneous dancing on the girls.
If there's one word for you to tease how the season's going to end, what would it be? Or even where it's going.
Yeah. This is not one word, but I will say our aspiration was to start small in terrestrial environments you recognize, and then have the world get progressively bigger. And the world certainly gets bigger by the end of the season. Yeah.
Do you find yourself thinking about your 12-year-old self and what you think about you today?
Yes, I absolutely do. And I felt this way on Hunt Catch Fire too, because to get to be grown up that like puts Clash songs and things and like uses bad words and like gets to write these bratty little kids is to kind of high five a younger version of yourself and be like, see, you didn't need math, and it's okay. Yeah, absolutely. And then I have young kids who are not as old as these girls, but I don't know. It kind of helps me not be so serious, because I think the great endeavor of Paper Girls is to take 12-year-old girls seriously, because we should, because they're people that are as fully formed and as thoughtful as we are, and that are dealing with often kind of things that are heavier than we are with more raw emotions. And so I think it's been good. I think it's been kind of therapeutic. Yeah.
And who do you think is going to grab onto the show? Do you think it's going to be younger people, or do you think it's going to be people like, oh, I wish I could talk to science?
I hope this is a show for people who don't think they like sci-fi. I think you can forget for stretches of this show that there's going to be time travel and giant robots, and then, be enjoying that. Every now and again there are people who think they are too good for genre, and I hope this is a show that kind of makes all those people get over themselves.
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much.
Oh my gosh, thank you. Is our time up so
Time's
fast?
up.
Oh, all right. Well, I appreciate